Willie Flowers of the NAACP Howard County Branch, located in Columbia, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from the 45th District. Please rise for the invocation.
Good evening. God bless all the families, communities, towns, counties of the state. Let's all vibrate love to those at every level, whether mansion, country cottage, city row home, government apartment, suburban cul-de-sac, mobile home, or campfire under the bridge. And don't forget the schools. God, let our light shine on all these places so they can be led by you. God, remind us that we are all miracles as long as we have breath to breathe, and after we breathe our last breath, we have you. Let Maryland be a course in miracles. May the earth unite us, the wind give us breath, and may the fire ignite us always to do God's will. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. That was great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, we'll let you go. Chair, recognized senator from the 45th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could just lift up my good friend, Mr. Willie Flowers. Mr. President, we get these unique opportunities to bring folks from our great state of Maryland to deliberate the prayers here, and I think that there could not be more of an example to be able to set that tone. I've known Mr. Flowers when I think about the work in Baltimore, but thinking about public health, Willie, and the work that you've been able to do. So it's been, I want to say, more than a decade ago, but I'm always thankful for that leadership. And I watched that leadership excel not just in Howard County's NAACP, but across our state NAACP. So I say thank you for that leadership also. He's a husband, he's a father, and he's a leader for our great state of Maryland. So I think in these moments to be intentional, in these moments to be able to provide unique opportunities to amplify voices. Thank you for being that unique voice. Can we journalize the remarks, Mr. President?
Without objection, Senator, most certainly we will journalize Reverend Flowers' wonderful invocation, and we will hear from him again in just a bit as we recess to the old chamber in just a short while here. We have a little bit of work to do first. But before we get there, has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 41 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. We have a bit of a busy evening, and so we're going to try and get through just our second reader calendar. Before we jump into business, let's see if we have any guests to be introduced. We have some resolutions, but they're not quite here yet. So let's start. Yes, Chair and Senator from Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight was District 5 night in Annapolis. We had constituents come down from Carroll and Frederick counties for District 5. We also partnered with another district. You may want to say something in a moment, but I think there's some folks in the gallery that were at our District 5 night, and ask them the body to give them a warm welcome.
Welcome to the District 5 residents. Welcome, welcome. Senator from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was also District 6 night in Baltimore County. And we had a great time at the Calvert House, great food. And I want to have the gallery, if anybody's up there right now, they can stand here from my district. And we'd like to have a Senate warm greeting. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Welcome to the residents from District 6.
Also, Mr. President, if I could, we have a visitor here this evening on the floor, and I would like for the Senate to give my wife, Charity Sowling, a greeting. Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting us borrow one for a bit. Yes, Chair, recognized Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not to be outdone by the rest of the districts tonight, but tonight was also District 20 night, and we've got a number of folks here. So if they could stand up and just be acknowledged. Thank you for joining us.
Excellent. Welcome to the residents from District 20. Senator from District 18, Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. My family is here joining us this evening. Please welcome my wife, Joanna, my children, Kate, Eli, and Harry, my parents, Elaine and Sid, my sister, Marcy, and my cousin, Rita, all here joining us this evening.
Welcome. Welcome to the whole Waldstreicher clan. Senator from the 45th District. Oh, yes, please.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I think I can't miss this one. But colleagues, I'm proud to be joined in just the greatest gift that can ever be given. But I'm here with my wife, Demetria. But I also have my 4 children, Kennedy, Reagan, CJ, and Bryson. They've been here when I've gotten sworn in, but I think this is the first time that I got to announce them from the floor.
Wow, very nice. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for letting us borrow your dad there for a while, and husband. Good to see you all. Senator from District 40.
If I could get my, hey, thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Mr. Kirk, could you please stand? Mr. President, Mr. Kirk is here with us tonight. He has a connection to the Maryland General Assembly. In 1959, he married Ruth Simmons. Mrs. Ruth Simmons later became Delegate Ruth Kirk, for those who may remember her. Arthur and Ruth Kirk were partners for a lifetime. They were married for 52 years until she transitioned in 2011. Together they have 7 children. Tonight he's with his daughter, Miss Kirk. They have contributed to the community in a mighty way through the Ruth Kirk Recreation Center in my district. His children have been steadfast in ensuring the center is dedicated to the community since 2011. Tonight, Mr. Arthur Kirk celebrates his 90th birthday. So colleagues, please join me in giving him a warm welcome to the Maryland Senate.
Welcome, welcome. 90 years young. We're so pleased to have you here. Thank you so much for spending your day with us. Thank you. Senator from District 32 also maybe has a similar birthday.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to introduce my husband, Len Beidel, who most of you know, and to wish him a very happy birthday today.
Happy birthday! It's a birthday day today. Birthday day, 19th. Busy. Yeah, let me just, we have resolutions. Guest? Senator from District 6.
Yes, there's one thing I definitely can't forget. We have a couple more guests here, and these guests are very important to us in the Senate. Matter of fact, one of the guests here was also not work here, but her husband was a representative for over 52 years as a delegate and a senator. And we knew him very well. And we love this man. And I would love for everybody here to give a great, warm, and generous greeting to our friend and her friend. And we love them and we thank you for them. Joanne Stone and Rick Hall. Please give them a hand.
Welcome, welcome. Great to see you both. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. All right, let's see. Yes, are we ready with the resolution? Yes.
Yes.
Chair recognizes Senator from 21st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is University of Maryland Global Campus Day in Annapolis, and we're pleased to have with us the president of UMGC, Gregory Fowler, and an alumna, faculty member, and past president of the Alumni Advisory Board, Patricia Torregas, with us today. All of us know something about UMGC. Some of us have taken courses there or graduated from there, not me included, I assure you, but many legislators have, gotten great educations. We know it's the premier educational institution for the U.S. military. We know that there are students from all over the state of Maryland, and frankly all over the United States, and in 20 locations around the world, that they are recognized by the Department of Education as a minority-serving institution, have the largest enrollment of any of our four-year campuses. But what I love about them, what I love about UMGC, is they were online before it was cool. Everybody learned about online education, including my friends at the University of Maryland College Park, during COVID. But UMGC was there at the beginning of the online revolution in higher education. They've led it for decades, they're leading it today, and we're just very proud of them. Would the clerk read the resolution?
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to University of Maryland Global Campus in recognition of UMGC Day in Annapolis, honoring the contributions and legacy of UMGC students, faculty, and staff, and alumni in Maryland and around the world. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 19th day of February, 2024.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the wonderful leaders and representatives of UMGC, we thank you for your work, and the Senate unanimously celebrates the impact that you're having on the state of Maryland. Thank you so much. And next we have Senator from the 41st District. Actually, give us just a moment. Let's make sure we get our guests are available. Wonderful. And we also, I believe, with this wonderful group here, we have some guests in the gallery as well. Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. For over 100 years, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated has soared to greater heights of attainment around the world and is leading the national service is a leading national service organization that continues to grow through sisterhood, scholarship, and service. It's a great honor to have in our presence the Northeast Regional Director, Celicia Sellers, and Area 1 Coordinator, Don Sherman, and also the other members in the gallery. Please offer a warm welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe there's a resolution at the desk.
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority in recognition of 102 years of greater service and greater progress demonstrated through your commitment to serving local, national, and international communities. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 19th day of February, 2024.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the wonderful ladies of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, we celebrate unanimously your 102 years of greater service and greater progress. Thank you for your impact on the state of Maryland. Congratulations. Excellent. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for being here. Spending the holiday with us here on the floor. Gotta love it. All right. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one more introduction. Up in the balcony, we have Jeff Wolford. Jeff was the chief medical officer under Governor Hogan during COVID, got us through that. Actually ran for office as lieutenant governor, but I know him as he is the commander of the Maryland Air National Guard's medical group, the whole medical system. He commands it. He was an A-10 pilot, an incredible guy. Actually took classes with him at Hopkins, but he's here. Just want to welcome him to Annapolis.
Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you. Thanks for your service, too. Trying to keep those A-10s. We're trying to find a way. All right, other introductions. Yes, Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to turn everybody's attention to the pages. We've got a new group of pages, and I'm going to introduce them now. Our first page for this week is Isamar Juarez from Dorchester County, North Dorchester County High School, District 37.
Welcome.
Our next page hails from Howard County, District 12A, Howard High School, I apologize. That's Ananye Obia. Ananye.
Welcome.
Our next page is not able to be with us tonight. She'll be here tomorrow. She hails from Calvert County, District 27B, Northern High School. This is Paige. I make fun of Paige. Her name is Paige. Paige Plater. So let's give Paige a big round of applause.
We look forward to seeing Paige tomorrow.
Our next page hails from Montgomery County, District 14, Paint Branch High School, Fana Tamrat. Fana?
Welcome.
And our last page this week hails from Baltimore County, District 10, Eastern Technical High School, Sabrina Thaler. Sabrina?
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair of the Protocol Committee. All right, any further introductions before we jump in for a bit of work today? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have introductory Senate bills. This is calendar number 44. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 1161, Senator Feldman, Electricity, Offshore Wind Projects, Alterations, Rules.
Majority Leader moves, Deputy Majority Leader moves, so be considered the reading of the bills. They'll be referred to the Rules Committee. We have the Senate Bond Initiatives, calendar 31. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Senator Jennings, Bali Quarters, Volunteer Fire Department, Budget and Taxation. Number 2, Senator Jennings, Our Lady of Mount Carmel School, Budget and Taxation.
All right, the bond initiatives will be referred to the Capital Budget Subcommittee. We have a message from the State Board of Elections. The clerk will read the message.
Dear Mr. President, please accept this appointment letter for Jared DeMarinis and schedule a confirmation hearing. The State Board of Elections has appointed Jared DeMarinis as the State Administrator of Elections in accordance with Election Law Article 2-103. The State Board of Elections submits his name to the Senate for confirmation. The term of office began on September 1st, 2023. He shall serve as the State Administrator until resignation, death, or duly removed in accordance with the term of election law Article 2-103. Thank you for your prompt action with our request. Michael Sumner, Chair.
Message having been read is ordered journalized, and the appointment will be referred to the Executive Nominations Committee. We have one second reader calendar, and I think let's see if we can get through this, and then we'll probably call it there and leave some unfinished business for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. So just keep that in mind. Let's go with the Committee on Finance. This is report number 5. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 32, Senator Bailey, Economic Development, Maryland Waterman's Microloan Program eligibility, favorable with 3 amendments.
Recognize the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. Senate Bill 32 expands eligibility for loans under the Maryland Waterman's Microloan Program to individuals who are residents of the state and holds a commercial license to catch fin fish, crabs, clams, or oysters issued by the Potomac River Fisheries Commission. Amendment number 1 alters the purpose paragraph. Amendment number 2 makes technical changes related to the inclusion of licensees of the Potomac River Fisheries Commission in the program. Amendment number 3 repeals a minimum and maximum loan about under the program and changes the effective date from October 1 to July 1 of 2024. There is no fiscal impact, and I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from District 30.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of an amendment.
Let's adopt the report really quickly if we can. On the amended report, any discussion? Any objections to the report? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Senator from District 30 has an amendment. Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me first apologize to the vice chair. I was under the impression another senator was the floor leader, so I this to you beforehand. But
it's just
the chair
one moment,
has it.
Senator, for us to get it on the board. All right, we have it.
Bless you.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, with apologies to the vice chair, I assumed another member was the floor leader. So in a very similar spirit to the bill, we're offering this amendment. A few years back, this chamber did a bunch of work on replenishing our oyster population, including creating another microloan program through Marbidco to revive Maryland's historic shucking houses in an effort and attempt to regain those oyster shells, which are invaluable when it comes to the actual restoration of our oysters. So, Mr. President, we originally set that microloan a little it's a little imbalanced. It has not been yet taken advantage of because the way we drafted it in that bill was that it had to be a full-time job. As folks might know, oyster shucking is not full-time all year long. It's seasonal, and so the amendment just adjusts that to a lower amount for seasonal full-time workers so we can get the money out the door, shucking houses up and running, and that shell retained by the state. So, Mr. President, with the committee's permission, I move this as a friendly amendment.
All right, the senator moves the amendment. Let's check with the floor leader on the amendment.
I am going to refer to the senator from Southern Maryland.
The floor leader seeks to yield to the to the senator from St. Mary's, the bill sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the spirit, and we would look at this as a friendly amendment.
Well, I would say the sponsor sees it as a special amendment. I would say it's not necessarily the committee's take, just operations-wise, but I want to make sure that we just get the framing correctly. Let's see. The senator has moved the amendment. Are there any discussion of the amendment? Any discussion of the amendment? Any objections to the senator's amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 32 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 38, Senator A. Washington, wage payment and collection, pay stubs and pay statements, required information, favorable with 3 amendments.
Recognizing the bill sponsor is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Senate Bill 38 adds to the information that an employer must include in a physical pay stub or on an online pay statement to an employee for each pay period. In addition to gross pay, the pay stub must include the employer's name and address, hours worked, rates of pay, net pay, and a list of deductions. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 specifies when an employee is hired, they must receive written notice of pay, benefits, and leave, alters the list of items that must be included on a pay stub, and requires the Commissioner of Labor and Industry to develop a pay stub template for employers. Amendment number 3 establishes an administrative process for addressing complaints and removes a private right of action provision. I move the amendments and adoption of the favorable committee report. Thank you.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to lay this over.
Senators move to lay the bill over under the rule.
Under
The
the rule.
motion is in order
Thank you,
and carries. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 70, Senator McCray, transportation, change in bus service, impacts report, favorable with 3 amendments.
Recognizes the senator from Baltimore City is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 70 requires the Maryland Transportation MTA, before announcing any service reduction or cancellation on an existing bus route or line, to complete a report on impacts of the proposed change. The report must include, among other information, a description of the monthly ridership on the bus route or line, the schools and types of businesses in the school area, the demographics of riders and the service area, and the effect the service reduction or cancellation will have on a commuter or riders. The report must be published on the MTA website at least 30 days before holding a public hearing, and distributed to certain public officials, including each member of the General Assembly whose district will be impacted by the proposed service reduction or cancellation. Amendment number 1 and 2 are technical changes to the bill, and amendment number 3 clarifies the reporting requirement applied to the paratransit service area changes. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 70 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 151, Senator Muse, transportation, change in bus service, impacts report. Prince George's County Work Group on Health and Wellness, favorable 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 151 establishes a work group on health and wellness in Prince George's County. Amendment number 1 adds a representative to the work group. There are no oppositions, and we move the committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 151 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 192, Senator Kramer, State Personnel, Collective Bargaining, Supervisor, Employees, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, colleagues. Senate Bill 192 grants specified supervisors in the executive branch of state government collective bargaining rights. And it also establishes a separate bargaining unit for these supervisors should they elect to be represented in collective bargaining by an exclusive representative. Colleagues, there are no amendments. There was no opposition at the hearing. Mr. President, I would move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, Floor Leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So 35th District.
35th.
40,
oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed that you said there was no opposition, but I looked at the report. It looked like it had bipartisan opposition in the committee vote. So I was wondering if I could take a closer look at this, if we could special order this till at least tomorrow.
Senators move to special order the bill. Any objections? No objections. Without objection, we'll special order the bill at the appropriate time tomorrow. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 197, Senator Ellis, Residential Service Agencies Reimbursement Personnel Assistance Services, favorable with one amendment.
Recognize the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, Senate Bill 197 requires that if a residential service agency wants to be reimbursed by the Medicaid program for personal assistance services, the personal care providers providing the personal services must be classified as employees. The bill has a delayed effective date to allow residential service agencies participate in the Medicaid program time to transition to the requirement. There's one amendment. It moves the effective date to January 1, 2026 to match the start of the tax year. I move the amendment and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 197 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 212, Chair of Finance Committee, Behavioral Health Advisory Council and Commission on Behavioral Health Care, Treatment, and Access alterations, favorable of two amendments.
Recognizing the senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 212 is a departmental bill that generally requires the Behavioral Health Advisory Council and the Commission on Behavioral Health Care to work together on trying to get some things done. So they would work together by coordinating their annual reports. They would meet jointly at least 3 times per year. The bill also alters the membership and terms of the council and requires the commission to make specified recommendations regarding the integration of somatic and behavioral health services under Medicaid. There are 2 amendments. Amendment 1 makes changes to the purpose paragraph. Amendment 2 requires the commission and the council to make recommendations regarding the continuation of the state's behavioral health carve-out and ensure compliance with the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 212 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 226, Chair, Finance Committee, Human Services Attendant Care Program, ongoing additional supports, favorable.
Recognizing Senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 226 is a departmental bill that modernizes the attendant care program in the Maryland Department of Disabilities by adding ongoing additional supports as a use of program funds. Using program funds for ongoing additional supports must be requested by the eligible individual for the purpose of increasing their independence. Examples of these supports include grocery and laundry delivery and ride sharing. There are no amendments. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 226 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 466, Senator Bidle, Wage and Hour Law, Minor League Baseball Players Exemption, favorable.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Senate Bill 466 is for minor league baseball players and it's an exemption from state wage and hour law. So in Maryland, we have a wage and hour law that says you can only work 40 hours a week. And the ball players are asking for an exemption because they don't want to like quit in the middle of a game. So there was no opposition, no amendments, and we moved for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 466 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. All right, we are going to pause there. Before we move over to our old chamber, I want to check with the committee, see if there are any morning announcements, anything from committees. Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you. Just very quickly, a guest announcement. We could welcome two dear friends, Stephanie Helsing, who's the president and CEO of the Silver Spring Chamber of Commerce,
Wonderful.
and then Spencer Helsing, who is just recently selected for special agent for the Diplomatic Security Services, heading off to FLETC very soon. So just want to give them a warm welcome to the Senate.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Very neat. Let's check with caucuses. Chair of the Democratic Caucus.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Democratic Caucus will be meeting in person tomorrow at 9 a.m. 9 a.m.
Thank you. Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Republican Caucus will be meeting at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Excellent. All right. Any further announcements? Further announcements? If not, let's do a quorum call before we recess.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Let's hear from the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate of Maryland recess to the old Senate chamber.
In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Senators, please try to move diligently and swiftly. We have a wonderful presentation from the senator from the 45th District. And the chamber will be secured. So you can leave your stuff here. See you there in a moment.